To the faculty and staff at Columbia Journalism School and to our audience from all over the world, thank you for joining us today. To the Columbia Journalism School class of 2021, congratulations. We have finally made it to this point, despite the enormous and unprecedented obstacles that stood in our way. Each of us was compelled to attend this school and join the incredible community of alumni, educators, and journalists that comes with it by a driving force: change. We want to tell stories that change the world. It's an unabashed and all-consuming motivation for the reporters I know, more so than getting their byline in the New York Times or some FaceTime on CNN. It's what pushes us to continue when the industry undergoes yet another round of nationwide layoffs. It's the thing that keeps us up at night, writing endless copy or poring over documents, figuring out how to get folks to pay attention. Not to us, but to the story, whatever story it may be, the one where in that moment feels like it can change everything if you can just get the right people to care. Change was at the heart of what we tried to accomplish as a student government. After I joined the journalism school as a bright-eyed part-time student in 2019, I was inspired by what I thought could be an opportunity to enact positive change within an institution that has existed for generations before me and will go on to last for generations more. In fact, a few of us part-time students had grown eager to contribute ideas and input into our education here, privileged with the fact that we enjoyed 2 years at the journalism school rather than 1, a whole second year to make an impact. We thought that perhaps we could use our second year as student leaders to help close the gap between our lofty expectations and the reality of the program, the university, and life on campus, as it were. When the coronavirus pandemic struck New York City and the school made the appropriate decision to make the program virtual, we knew it was time to get to work. The administration needed the help of students who had a bit of experience with the journalism school to help with the transition. And as we all learned last year, life doesn't often hand you a second chance to get things right. When a crisis is unfolding before your eyes, it's your responsibility to seek out and help enact change. So we did get to work, and I'm proud of the work we did. We helped deliver emergency financial relief for students with the school, and then launched our own fundraiser to provide further assistance. We created the class government's first ever diversity and inclusion representative. We gave students a chance to meet in person, following rigid safety measures and partnering with every single one of the student affinity groups on campus. When I was elected president, I committed myself to speaking to the students instead of for the students. I simply listened to the community and responded to their needs. Whether it was urging the university to divest from fossil fuels or convincing the school to reconsider rejected applications for emergency aid, it was always because of the conversations and connections I made with my fellow students. And in the end, I can say we did enact change. The university divested from fossil fuels. The school reversed its decision on rejected emergency aid applications. A graduation that was set to be entirely virtual is now hybrid. Some folks may say I took this presidency seriously, and they're right. I very much did, because I believe that we're only given brief moments in life to make big waves, and when those opportunities present themselves, well, you better take full advantage. It's a hope I have for my generation that we will remain unburdened by what may have been considered the confines and limitations for a lifetime before ours. We can choose to live in and create a world in which the lines have been redrawn to conform with the facts that any modern society should acknowledge. Climate change is real. Black lives matter. Women's rights are human rights, including transgender women. And yes, these can all be facts that an unbiased and impartial media ascribe to, the same way we assert that the sky is blue and the grass is green. Now, these may not be the views of the executives for some television networks which describe themselves as news outlets, but these are the belief systems and the truths held by the vast majority of people my age, and even more so those younger than us, regardless of our personal, religious, or political ideologies. And as the world becomes increasingly interconnected through the freedoms and democratization of the internet, my hope is that we can establish a new set of journalistic principles, still based in truth and justice. All it requires is change. And you guys, I know you're destined to change things in a big way. I see it in the way you aggressively report your stories. I see it in the passion you all hold for this work. And I see it in your futures. From the foreign correspondent delivering the latest news from overseas to the local anchorwoman keeping folks up to date on whatever story may be impacting her viewers, her community. The one thing I ask you to never change is yourself. As journalists, we're taught to be flies on the wall, to capture and tell stories without injecting our own input and perspective, and rightfully so. Learning how to be invisible and give your platform to those who need it is one of the most important aspects of our work. But that doesn't mean you should ever forget who you are. We're all storytellers, and yet we each have our own story to tell. Yours is just as beautiful and important as anyone else's. Class of 2021, know that I am always here rooting for you, no matter where your story takes you. Thank you to my mother and father, whose own stories made mine possible. Thank you to my fiance, Lamar, who has had my back from day one. Thank you to my Vice President, Leanne Herder, my Senator, Aruba Kazmi, and the entire Society of Professional Journalists chapter at CJS. It has been an absolute honor to serve as your class president.